Hey, what's up, everybody? Saturday, got the gym time in, got the grandma time, did lunch, and I want to play with some live stream settings because it's really hard to work on when it's not live and see if things work. So there might be some stuff on the screen like the YouTube count that still shows 0. I have to prove some of this doesn't work, and then maybe I can get YouTube to kind of split my account and make things work because unfortunately, I think that YouTube counter thing won't work. I did see that when you subscribe to the channel, that should pop up, and if you become a member, that should pop up, but we'll see. You know, proof's in the pudding. I'm working on adding some little things to the live stream, and slow and steady. Well, it did. I saw it updated to 130, so hey, maybe it is working, you know. Yeah, that's why I have to test live. Anyway, I've got a new fancy, that's not true. I've had this fancy gadget, which is right here, which is a stream deck, and I can push buttons and make things happen. All right, so someone just became a member. Ooh, it should be popping up on the screen. All right. But I can program all of these buttons to do different things. Like in theory, when I press this button, it should play a sound. Let me know if it plays a sound.
Yes, that sequence of words I said made perfect sense.
Yeah, so we can add in little things and doodads, and it's something for me to kind of play with and freshen it up and keep it fun for me as well. So, yeah. Oh, I need to take my headphones off and look to my left for a second. All right, it's for meme purposes, I'm sure. Do I have to do like the blue Magnum look? Anyway, I was wearing the headphones so I can hear when things trigger for a bit and see if it's working correctly, but hey. So yes, looks like you got the sound, the Futurama sound, and yeah, we'll be playing around with some fun stuff. It's kind of fun to play with that, but other than that, mostly it's the members only chat. What does that mean? It means anyone can watch, but only certain people can chat, and that is those are a member. So it kind of, one, it gives them a little bit of space so that I can address questions, but two, it keeps this manageable. You know, instead of thousands of people chatting, it's much less than that. So it's just a purely value-added extra. So the whole purpose of this thing is to remind me to thank you guys. So thank you to Joshua, Jens, Brian, Rojas, and 420 Jesse W. Now, eventually I want like a meme there or some kind of funny graphic or whatever, but I'm just testing functionality today. You know, and I want it to reinforce people subscribing, and then maybe even becoming members, that kind of stuff, because not enough people do subscribe. So, yeah, we replaced some of the emojis today. We've got more we've had some, you know, some just don't come out at 32 by 32 pixels, which is tiny. And so we keep working on it. We did unlock another emoji from Wednesday. So we do have an open one that we can think of to add to. And, you know, right now we're doing okay with Benjamin Donnelly coming in. We're working towards our next goal. The next goal officially from YouTube would be, let me see here. We would get access to another emoji in 46 subscribers. So, you know, maybe the subscribe-a-thon will do it. I don't know. Maybe you guys subscribe later. I don't know. Maybe we'll never get there. But if you do become a member, you've gotten 2 posts from me today. You know, so we posted once on the community tab for everybody, and then I posted twice to the members. One was kind of a song I was listening to while I worked out at the gym, and then another one was while visiting grandma. She had a picture from my childhood. So if you want to see a much, much younger, hilarious-looking me, you know, those are the kind of things you can get by becoming a member that you can't live without. Little pictures of me. So, all right, we have a super chat thing. Wow, that is very small to read. I don't know. On my screen, like when I look at myself on my little thing here, it's like this big. So that text looks super small. I'll watch it on the replay later and go, oh, could someone actually read that question while I'm about to read it? We'll see. Love the beard and derpy goldfish. My plants from the coop are doing amazing. Thanks again. Keep up the work. Hashtag FluVolTrippin'. Indeed. Yeah, we have a new cargo container landing Monday morning. Oof. But there's some cool things coming in. Not necessarily stuff we sell, which I know that seems weird. It would be things that are going to enhance how we ship and that kind of stuff. We're investing in making shipping even better. So there will be a little bit of new stuff in there too, but mostly that container is I guess operational supplies, not so much inventory. I've got a new cool shirt that my wife found for me. Let's see if I can, because I love Chihuahuas. Well, I love all dogs, but yeah. All right. Oh, I'm 30 minutes from home making a long chat. I will make it as long or as short as it needs to be to remain flowing and entertaining and that kind of stuff. I don't want to force. I don't want to burn myself out. Two, if you guys are into it, that's cool as well. Just trying to have a little bit of fun today. Super excited. Got my first order today. Easy iron. Super fast shipping. Yes, we were having meetings all day. Yes, I was in all meetings all day yesterday, and we spent a very long time discussing shipping. Can we go it's not can we go faster. We're kind of working on this new philosophy, and that is the whole methodology of slow. So packing something kind of slow and methodically is smooth, and smooth operation of the entire business ends up being very fast. And it's a hard concept to teach, just because most people, if they're not looking from the top down, they don't see that when one mistake happens, all these other people have to get involved. And it's really slow. It costs us a lot of time and money when one thing is sent wrong, or one thing's forgotten or something like that. And so we're willing to give up an extra 30, 45 seconds when someone's packing an order, double, triple check, really make sure it's good before it goes out the door, so we can give you that problem-free experience. And our mispick rate, our misship rate, our refund rate is very, very low. But if it was at zero, it would be better, right? And we want to make sure that it never goes higher as well. So, yeah. How'd my workout go? Went well. I hit the treadmill today. My goal was to work on cardio, and that was because the past couple times with the personal trainer, I was actually getting dizzy and lightheaded. My lungs have been filled with crud from being sick. It's kind of a lingering thing from when I got back from Peru. And so I wanted to hit the treadmill, and I did an incline today at a 3.0 speed, which is nothing crazy fast or a crazy high incline, but it was for an hour. And I wanted to make sure that, one, I didn't get dizzy, two, that I wasn't having like coughing fits like I was, and I was able to do it. So I'm optimistic on Mondays back to a normal kind of workout and start pushing forward again. And instead of really struggling to get through the normal workout that I was accustomed to before I went to Peru. And it's irritating to know you can do more and you can do better, and you've done that, and it was just like a month ago, and then you're like, my body's actually struggling, So, but each day that goes by, my illness is getting better. I don't want to call it an illness. Like, I'm feeling better. Dean's still sick. Joel Corvus Oskin's got it right now, and that's kind of the problem when you work with all your buddies or you hang out with everyone. Like, I got sick, then my wife got sick, Dean got sick, Joel's sick right now. It starts moving around, and it really starts affecting business too when you're like, oh geez, we're all getting sick. And yeah. So Corpsey's living the best corpse life right now. Yeah, she was really sedentary right here, just floating right before I went live, and I was like, man, people are gonna lose their minds when she does that. But it is what it is. I was almost gonna put some live plants in there yesterday. I kind of ran out of time, and two, I'm not done adding goldfish. And I was like, I know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna plant it. It's gonna start looking cool. I'll quarantine fish. I'll add fish in, and then something will get sick, and inherently I'm going to go, dang it, gotta kill the plants with salt or something, so I'm holding off. That's what I'm doing. I'm holding off. Even though I'm desperately want to look better. And I do have a call out, though. If you guys have an idea of where I can find... I want, like, the world's biggest castle. Or, like, the world's biggest, like, classic, iconic aquarium decoration. You know, so, like, this is an 8-foot tank, and it's 4 feet front to back. I think it'd be cool to have, like, a 6-foot-long castle by, like, 2 feet front to back. And it would be like its own meme already. Like, people already hate the fact that I don't keep the fish they like in the aquarium. But I just think it would look cool. One, because I actually do think castles look okay when they're done correctly. You know, you plant it up and you do that kind of stuff. I do like it. But I think it'd be cool to have something unique as well. And I think that would be, you know, like a one-of thing. I don't even know how you'd make it, but, you know, it's not my forte. So, let's see here. Oh, my wife just told me there's a box at our front door. It's my new headset. This headset it's been hurting my ears. I actually swapped headsets, and I have a giant head that, you know, not only my ego is so huge I have a giant head, but literally my physical head is pretty big. Like, if I was to walk into a normal hat store, they won't have a hat that fits my head, right? So it's just big. And this thing is maxed out, and it just really, you can see my ears are all red because it really pinches on them. And so I'm getting a different headset that I've had way in the past that did not have that problem. And you would think it's not that big of a deal, but my life lives in a headset when I'm proofing the videos and you know, watching stuff, and I have a lot of video conferences and that kind of stuff. So I actually end up wearing a headset a lot of the day, and you know, for whatever reason, and I haven't gotten into it that far, but I haven't been able to get my workout headphones to pair with this computer. They'll pair with my laptop and all that. But I like an open ear thing too. But hey, you know, it is what it is. I've got new members I need to acknowledge. We've got Amy Wydell. Yeah, that seems right. And then a Michael Laforte and Mystery Sauce. Mystery Sauce, that's a good one. I like it. So, welcome. Do you guys get that little dingly chime every time someone becomes a member? Because my full intention is to find something meme-tastic to replace that chime with. But I thought, you know what? Let's make sure there's a chime before I replace it with something crazy. I could build you a Lego castle. I would almost try that, Cavaliers. Now, from a guy that has put Legos in an aquarium before, I know you have to build it underwater because the air that you trap while you do it makes it very buoyant. But I would actually kind of be interested in that if we know how much it's going to cost. Like, if it was less than $1,000 for the Legos and you would build it, I'm kind of really on board. But sometimes you get into that and you're like, wait a second. The bricks? It's $4,000. You know, it's going to take someone 2 years to build it. Like, oof. Oh, you guys don't get a chime. Okay. So I get a chime in my headset, but I know there should be the ability of, like, you guys get a chime. So you didn't get a chime, but do you see it go on screen? Like, does it say, like, this person became a member? Does that happen? It happens on my screen. And this is why I have to try it live, because if stuff's happening on my screen and I'm getting sounds but you guys don't get it, I have no way to know if you guys are actually getting it. Carlos Labera, thanks for becoming a subscriber. The Nutty Mechanic in with the $5 super chat. I've got a 2.5 gallon and a 4 gallon sump, eco complete with easy green and a Nycrew 12-inch light. What plants do I recommend from our website? Well, good thing we have some technology that may or may not work. Let's try it. I'm going to hit my button. Let's take us to the web. Boom. Oh, it worked. My button worked. Feels so good when you make a thing do a thing and then it does what it's supposed to do. That being said, my actual computer is not on the right screen because I can't help you yet. But I love to shop from my own website because this is where I find mistakes and then I yell at myself. But with a 2.5 gallon, it's not giant, right? So I want slow growing plants. One thing I would consider would be a Nubia Stana Petite. I would also look towards crypts. I love Crypt When Deadeye Red. Now, officially on our website, we always sell it as Crypt When Deadeye. 98% of the time, it's Crypt When Deadeye Red. And that's just because every once in a while, there's a mix-up at the nursery, and we get greens. And then people lose their minds, and it costs us tons of money in apologies and that kind of stuff. So we just said, you know what? It's Crypt When Deadeye. And, well, it's red, though. Yeah. What do I got going on here that else? Like, all the mosses would work, you know? I really like... I personally would do a dwarf aquarium lily. It's going to put all the lily pads up, and it's going to look a little ridiculous. But I think it's going to look... I love the look, so that's just me personally. What else would I play with in that tank? Crypt Lucens, we're sold out right now, but likely will come back in on Monday. And that's going to be a shorter crypt that looks more not grass-like, carpeting-like, I guess. Yeah. But any of the Nubius, I would say. We're also now selling the Tiger Lotus bulbs instead of the actual potted plant. So like with this plant, we actually have it in stock. Like I was at the warehouse yesterday, we've got a lot of them. But not all of them have sprouted yet. So we give it a few days to really get a sprout on there before we go, okay guys, order them up, let's do this. And in theory, we'll have this Nubia Stana Petite Bowl coming back in stock on Monday. There was problems at the manufacturer of the terracotta pots. Supposedly that's been worked out. In theory, they're going to come back. We will see. I'll believe it when I see it, and we'll go from there. So, yeah. The ultimate idea is a castle made of plants, Java Moss and Nubius. Yeah, I mean, that's actually one of my favorite...
Swimming,
Yes,
salmon,
that
salmon,
sequence of words
Uh-oh.
I said made perfect sense.
Maybe it's on the briefcase. Look on the...
I just found when you switch scenes and it's left with sounds, it'll autoplay those. But back to what I was trying to say is typically always with the fake decorations, I always want to turn them into a living decoration. So even if it's like a saltwater coral, some of those saltwater corals are the best thing to get like Java fern growing out of because it'll look amazing. You have this great base. But yes, if I had a 4-foot castle, for sure I would plant it up. And what I envision, I've got this tank I envision in my mind a lot. It's like a castle, and then there's like a courtyard. And that courtyard, I would totally have it have like a planting shelf where I could put, in a tank this big, maybe dwarf Sagittaria that's going to get this tall, so it looks like there's hedges and that kind of stuff. And I just want to see the goldfish derp around that thing. Almost anything. Like a giant Buddha could be in there. It needs something, though, and I get that, Like, it's not done by any means, but I don't want to rush it. So, got some new members. Shamans Aquatics. Shamans. And Tyler Coring. All right. Wes Thompson. My girls love seeing Murphy at your store. They're watching you right now and would love a shout out. Well, hello, Lily and Piper. Thanks for visiting the store. Hopefully you got to feed Murphy. That's a good time. I was there yesterday. He hadn't been fed yet. And I got the chance to do a feeding. And we filmed that for you guys. So yeah, it's it's even a treat for me to do it. Murphy's awesome. And yeah. All right, I've got a 600 liter. Let me do that math. 600 liters divided by 4 roughly gets you gallons. So it's about a 150 gallon tank. And it's not filled yet. My fiance wants an external filter, but I want a sump. Any suggestion on which one's better? It may end up as a discus or a predator tank. I actually don't think one or the other is strictly better at that size. Because like something like a Fluval FX6 will handle that tank just fine. And so you basically spend like $300, boom, you're done, right? Maybe a little less, maybe a little more. With the sump, you're going to have to custom build it. You might have to drill that tank. You're going to have to, well, you don't have to custom build a sump, but they can be very expensive if you buy one off the shelf. So for me personally, the way I look at it, if it's going in your living room, respect what the other people in the house want. If they want the canister, go with the canister. If it's like in the fish room or the garage, go with what you want. You want to tinker with it, great. I personally, like in my living room, I run an FX4 on my 230 gallon tank. And I like how quiet it is. I like that it's easy to like, well, it's not easy, but you can unhook it, take it and service it at the bathroom or the kitchen sink, somewhere remotely, not in the living room. Whereas a sump, inherently there's always like, there's going to be extra humidity. Like maybe you don't want your living room to be extra humid, like that's a hangout spot or something. And yeah, if I was doing it as I have, I go with a canister filter. I bias towards Fluval FX4 and 6. So, yeah. All right, Adam Gerke with the new membership, and FishTube says, "Isn't Candy camping? How is she here?" I honestly have no idea if she's camping or not. I literally don't know. So, if she is, that's kind of awesome. If she isn't, cool, she's at work. But Candy is very, very dedicated to the whole community and Aquarium Co-op. I mean, she works for us, yes, but dedication level over 9,000 for sure. So finally, we can shut the stream down. We got Lizzie Block to become a member. That is Jimmy's girlfriend. It took this long, but worth it. It only took a year after meeting her to get her to become a member. Even though I gave her a ride at Aquashella and all that. Guilt trip her so hard. No, I'm kidding. Thanks for becoming a member. Honestly, you'll get to see a little bit of behind the scenes stuff. And I'll probably be seeing you at Aquashella and maybe Aquatic Experience. I don't know. I'm assuming you're going with Jimmy. I'm assuming Jimmy's going. So yeah. All right. Oh, Shaman's Aquatic says, "I've been meaning to do this. I watch your videos too often to not become a member." Yeah, I don't know. I feel eternally guilty because I wish there was a component to this that like took the money out of it, but kept the community there. And before everyone suggests like, oh, go to this, go to do that, like I spent years trying to figure this out. And I don't believe moving to Discord or moving to here and taking it off site is the right way to go. I don't think charging on my website for a membership is the right way to go. I'm not sure this is the best method we have right now. I'm not sure it's the best method that could ever be made though, because I don't want to limit people like, oh, you live in a country where you can't get it. That sucks. I think I just learned that like New Mexico doesn't allow a monthly subscription. So you'd have to, if you lived in New Mexico, you'd have to re-become a member every month manually. That seems like a train wreck and a nightmare. Like the system, it's very complex, and that's part of the problem is no matter what we do, we've gone off-site, we're still on-site, there's always going to be like, people are always going to end up becoming the minority of like, hey, it doesn't work on a 12-year-old iPhone in Africa with my IP address being in New York, which I spend some time in Italy. It's like, oh man, yeah, I don't know. So I'm just doing the best I can without derailing, and be like, oh, I don't know, I got on this tangent, didn't get anything accomplished. And that's kind of what's been going on, actually, lately is been not getting filming done, which is bad. But I've been sick, and I've been wanting to, I've been putting ideas together, and there's stuff I want to film. But when you can be talking and then like break into cough, you don't want to make a video about something that is going to be there forever, and know it's just intentionally going to be poor quality. So I've been waiting. I think this week I can get back to filming, like legit. We'll see. I don't want to overwork myself. And, there's days I still lose my voice, just from having meetings all day and then trying to get other stuff done. So, yeah, I don't want to reset and be like, geez, I'm not making any headway. Kimberly J, thanks for becoming a member. I appreciate that, honestly. And Tracy Walker with the $10 super chat. How do I get more male guppy fry? This is something that I think is a thing, but I don't know the answer. So I'm not sure anyone knows the answer, but I think it's either pH related or temperature related. You can do that with crebensis and some other fish. You can play with that to make that happen, but in guppies, I don't know if the research has been, it's like the most researched fish out there. So I don't know of the study that's done that research. So I haven't been able to read it, so I can just go, oh, here's what I found out, guys. So maybe I'll look into that later. For me, that is definitely the, I'm trying to fall asleep. Yeah, let me look up that guppy thing for a while. That's how I look up that stuff. Ooh, closing out a successful 10-year Mabu breeding goal. Any suggestions on another really hard to breed fish that's not a puffer? I don't want to deal with healing and seeing the damage done. Yes, Mabu puffers are notorious for being very bitey during the breeding thing. If I was gonna work on breeding something at Captain Insano level, like you've got quite a number of notches on the belt. Sounds like you're very seasoned. Me personally, this is what I would do. This is not necessarily what you should do. But if I had Mabu puffers under my belt, I would be making a very, very serious attempt at breeding fly river turtles. And some people have pulled it off in captivity a couple of times, but that's also not that many people have done Mabu puffers, so we know it can be done. We know it's hard to source adults. We know it's a very long grow out time. There's all these things we know, but I feel like if you're that dedicated, you can probably pull the same thing off with fly river turtles. I don't know your home setup. I don't know all that, but that's something that I think I would attempt in 10, 20 years when I really have retired and I've oh yeah, check out that garage over there. I've turned the entire garage into this crazy big pond with giant land area that's sand for them to lay the eggs. And I just want to make more because it's a fascinating animal that we can't really get in the U.S. legally. And so it's hard to get. You'll have to adopt them out from zoos and you'll have to work on it. But I think that is a very noble project. And the reason why I would recommend that to someone that's done puffers is because typically it's reptile people approaching to breed the fly river turtles. And I think there hasn't been wide success there. So if we come from a different school of thought, right, and we go towards it, maybe we will see something or figure something else that the reptile side, the reptile side usually comes in with great feeding habits and poorer water quality. We would kind of come in with crazy good water quality, but not as high feeding. Also, we know that fly river turtles love veggies, and we can grow insane amounts of water lettuce and that kind of stuff, and maybe that's part of it. I don't know, but that's where I would go. I'm sure there's some other fish that you could definitely pick out, but I think you're looking for a good idea and something that I'd be passionate about, and I feel like I'm super passionate about Mabu puffers. I would hope you are if you've bred them. And then my next thing is I'm super passionate about fly river turtles, even though I don't own one, because I've had plenty of chances to buy them, anywhere from $600 to $30,000. And I've entertained all of them, and you might be thinking $30,000 is an insane amount of money. I completely agree. Do I get a car or do I get this turtle? But I want one very much so, but it has to be legal. It has to have paperwork and all that. And every time that's fallen through. Magically yeah, I just really can't find that paperwork. So, because I always say I need copies of the paperwork and I'm taking it straight to Fish and Wildlife for verification and getting the A-OK, because I know I'm going to spend so much time and money to actually set them up correctly that I can't chance them being taken away and all that. And I don't want to buy from an illegal source anyway. So hope that does that question justice. Oh no. See, that's what I don't want to do in the middle of a video. Okay. We've got some new members. We've got Andrew Purr. It's like par, but purr. That's a lighting nerd joke, by the way. Purr, P-U-R versus par, P-A-R. All right. Mark Hill and Ali Patton. Yes, thank you for your comment earlier, Ali. I enjoyed reading that on the community page. So I genuinely do read an insane amount of comments every day. So even if I don't answer them or give them a heart, do know that I am reading them. But a lot of times I'm reading them in between something, and so I don't have the attention to follow up let me craft a response. So Fernando Gonzalez. You're the only one I've become a member to because I appreciate all you do for the hobby as well as the honesty and transparency you give us. Well, thank you. I like to I know a lot of the creators, and I can honestly say, let me make sure that's a true statement. I believe that everyone is a good person. Even the people we think are the most despicable, maybe. When you meet them, they're like, hey, this is a genuine, decent person. But then I think what gets in the way sometimes is bills and money and that kind of stuff. And I don't even really fault people for that because, you can't lose your house. You can't, so much goes into YouTube that unless you're a creator you don't see. You don't realize that, oh man, it's like I'm working 2 jobs and I'm only getting the salary of 1/3 of one because I made some mistakes. Usually at work, if you underperform a little bit, you make an honest mistake, you don't instantly just kind of lose your job unless something massive. Same thing with YouTube. You do something massively wrong and they would penalize you pretty hard for it. But, it can be hard going and a lot of times creators don't realize that they're running small businesses. That's why I've always treated YouTube as a business. Most creators get into trouble with taxes. They don't understand they need to be saving at least 30% of what YouTube pays and all that kind of stuff. And they don't have bookkeepers and all that, and they don't know to itemize. You bought a camera, you bought a stream deck for your thing. That's part of producing a show. That's part of making, if memberships earn me $2.50, those $2.50 can be written off against the stream deck. So I'm trying to make the stream better. You guys enjoy it. You become a member, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I try to always be as transparent as I can, and I think a lot of people are being transparent. But the same thing, I said in a different live stream, I'm subscribed or a member to some channels to see what they do because I would love to see more good ideas. And I still feel that most membership channels are very underperforming what I would expect. Now, you may feel the same way about me. I totally get it. And I don't want that to scare off new potential members, but if you do feel that way, leave a comment. And I'm always trying to make value better for members and non-members. That's the thing in the back of my mind is I don't want to create memberships and make it so ridiculously good that people that aren't members feel left out. So it's a constant balance that I'm trying to pull off. Yeah. How's everybody doing tonight? Mean Mug Aquatics? Well, it's only about 5 o'clock, and I'm doing okay. I have a date to play World of Warcraft later tonight, so, getting my dudes back together. Gonna play some, we even, we bought snacks and all that. My wife is out, his wife will be out, his kids are at grandma's. We are literally middle-aged men, setting it up, we're gonna play video games tonight. It's gonna be amazing. We haven't done that, and so when I say him, I'm actually talking about my silent business partner. We used to play games way back in the day. We actually met, I guess the story, I don't know if I've told. We actually met at a card shop. And what I mean by card shop would be Magic the Gathering, or if you don't know what that is, imagine a baseball card shop. We met at a gaming store, and I was managing it at the time, and became good friends. And we were just thinking about how crazy that is, because I ended up hiring another one of those people, happens to be his brother, to work at the warehouse. And we realized that we've known each other for over 20 years. And in our minds, it's like 5 years ago. Like it's crazy to think about, like, wait, not 20 years, like over 15 years. Yeah. And it's just crazy to think about that, because you're like, I'm only 36. Like, I knew you when I was 21. Like, that's crazy. But yeah, so we haven't really done any games or really done much together at all in the last 6-7 years, basically, since we opened the store and everything. And we're basically trying to, we were both kind of career people, I guess. You know, I had to run the store, really focus on that, make sure we didn't fail. He was working on his own career and doing well there. And then, you know, he had some kids and he got married and he bought a house and all that. And now we're at a point where if all the stars align, we can play, some video games for a few hours tonight together. And it'll be a big milestone for us. You know, we're very excited to hopefully make that happen. And so. The Fish Tank Barn. I missed you earlier, buddy. My bad. Aquashella Fund. Any new rare libraries in the fish room? No, but I almost brought home yesterday the Variatus hyphen platy and then the Coral platy. They were looking real good in the store. And I said, you know, I don't have the air hooked up where I want to put them. And really, I need to get in the fish room, hook up air, do a few of these things. But I don't know. Being sick, caused delays and some stuff. And then now I'm playing catch up. And a good example of this, by the way, is, so let me talk about it. This device is like, I want to say it's like $250 or $300. I bought it before Jimmy ever left. Like a month before Jimmy left, I bought this thing. Jimmy's been gone. He left, July 5th? And now I set it up today. So September 14th. That's kind of how long some of my ideas and projects are like in the wings of this, like, and it's something I've been wanting to play with and do and start figuring out and everything. But, you know, so same thing, like a fish room, like, oh, I want to do this. I want to bring this fish home, but I got to put the steps ahead. So, yeah. A little D&D never hurt anyone. It never hurts until someone doesn't show up. I've only ever played D&D like maybe 6 times ever, but it's always because like the party would fall apart. Like, oh, dude and dude have to work or whatever, and then it was like once you miss like 1 or 2, it's like we're done. We're done here. No, never mind. So, members only WoW stream eventually. I had considered doing something. I don't know. I don't know. And I don't even know why I don't know. I just seem so foreign of like, I don't know, either people are really going to love it or like out of all the members, like 4 people are going to be like, this was awesome. And the rest of the people are like, how dare you waste our time? But there is a chance for sure. Like I've thought about it. If I was going to do it, it would probably be while I like, do PvP or something, which is not really even in the game yet. So, yeah. Oh, Jane's asking about something, but I've missed it. Thoughts on local fish rescue Facebook groups? In a previous rant, hidden somewhere, I'm sure in a live stream, and I'm sure it'll get me in trouble again, but I personally don't believe in rescues. And it's basically the TLDR, the too long didn't read version of it, is like a non-for-profit rescue, usually, and I say usually, this is like, we're just looking at odds here. They end up overwhelmed, not being able to take care of the fish as well as they should because they don't have paid staff. They have a hard time getting proper enclosures, getting proper food and nutrition. And so like we have all that going on, and they're taking some of the worst cases. So it's kind of like a non-profit hospital, but it's run by like your neighbor out of his house, right? Like, you can't take the worst cases to that person with the least amount of equipment and like no regular hours and only one person working, and like it just inherently is a bad system. So I'm kind of against it for that reason. Just because, like, maybe 1 out of 100 works out and you're like, wow, that's actually doing some great stuff, you know. But for the most part, you know, I see them pop up all the time, like, oh, I'm the latest blah, blah, blah rescue of Washington State. You know, whether it's bettas, whether it's monsterfish, whether it's African cichlids or whatever. And then you look into it and, like, a year later, they don't exist, / they realize it was a lot of work and money for no return. Like, everyone goes like, oh, I get them, I'll rehab them, and then I'll sell them off, you know, because they're going to be great. And someone will buy them for $50, and that'll pay for the next one that we're going to rescue. And then it ends up breaking down where it's like, but no one bought it. In fact, I couldn't even get rid of it. Like, uh-oh. You know, so I want it to work, though. I want it to be like, oh, yeah, great. You know, like, all fish are getting rescued. You know, in my opinion, you know what a local fish rescue is? Your local fish store. You know, essentially, like, if a local fish store can't be the rescue, it's because there's no money in it and it doesn't make sense. So it's unlikely that someone else will crack the code. Because trust me, if there was money to be made in rehabbing fish, we would do it. And every store would do it. So, what's the best options for aquatic critters in a 20 long in Texas outside? Well, Texas, some of it gets really hot and really cold. Like, there's big fluctuations, so I'm not 100% sure here. But, what would I do there to have a real good variance? I would try, like, rosy barbs, rosy red minnows, white clouds. Rosy minnows might be a little, or rosy... Is that rosy barb? Rosy reds might be a little big. Rice fish. What else would be good candidates for that? Maybe Chinese bitterlings. Maybe rainbow shiners. That's my last one I got. So. Oh, we got new members while I was talking. Aquatic Brilliance, Eric Young, and Aaron. Welcome, buddies. Welcome. Glad to see you on a non-Thursday night. Oh, we're talking to Chad. That must be, who's Thursday night? KG Tropicals, right? Juvenile pleco food. They'll eat almost anything. Like, Dean raised his up on baby brine shrimp. I did a lot of flake food and, like, rapashi, and then green beans as well out of the can. So, do dark rocks like Ceru stone have minerals that harden water? The answer to that is yes, but it's such a slow process and so little that you could also answer like, no, they don't, and also kind of be right. Technically, like, everything leaches at some rate, right? So, like, think about a bottle of water. For like a year, it's no problem, but like, oh wait, after a couple years, like, it leached stuff into the water. And with Sarastone, it leaches so slow that I don't think you're ever gonna have a problem unless it's a very small system. You're not changing water, that kind of stuff. I gotta take these out; they're hurting my ears. Whew. Yeah, look at that. Ow. All right, welcome, Mike Justice. Welcome. Green beans, like out of the can? Yes, definitely, Chad. They can even be salted. They work really well. Ooh, I got some good hair going on from that. And they sink right away. That's why I like them better than fresh green beans, is they'll sink right away. And you can just kind of go throw them in tanks. We used to feed it every Friday at the store that way. And I used to be quite a bit when I was really cranking out plecos. So, yeah. Ginger Graves. Okay. $20 super chat. I also want to make some extra little things pop up based on how much of a super chat. Because mostly it gives me more chances to use like memes and stuff. And I just, I want to go meme heavy. All right. The question is, do you treat ammonia poisoning with meds? You got red streaks in the fins. One's got a swim bladder issue. IckX is in the water because of visible ick. Long story short, I think something happened with my local water. Lost all of my 50 and 33 longfish. Whoa. So being that it's not localized to one aquarium and it was multiple aquariums, yes. So what could happen? Let me re-engineer or dissect this a little bit. When something like that happens, I consider it an environmental factor. What does that mean? That means it's something that affected all the fish in a tank. This one even affected multiple tanks. So I'd look at things like temperature. Did that get out of control? I would look at things like incoming water. So water out of your tap, right? Did we possibly have a really bad batch of food? Like what outside could have like been introduced in this aquarium to make this happen? The most likely culprit would be your tap water. You do a big water change, things are different, you do everything the same, you've always done it. As a fish keeper, we don't think anything different. We come in the next day, bloodbath, right? But throughout the year sometimes, the municipalities have to flush the water system, so maybe there's way more chlorine or maybe there's a different additive. And even though we haven't done anything different, they've done something different. So the same amount of dechlorinator might not be enough. They can add additives to water. Like if they got a bad water report, like we need to bring up the pH, we need to raise the hardness, we need to bring the pH down and put a bunch of CO2 in to pass the test. So I think that's probably what's gone on there, but also look at temperature, look for anything that might be out of the ordinary. If you go, oh, you know what, I did leave those frozen bloodworms out. They got left out for a few hours. I put them back in the freezer. Then I fed both tanks a couple days later, and they all got sick. But even in that case, usually you'd have like the fish get sick, and I don't think it would lead to the red streaks and stuff like that. So now we go to the actual. We're assuming you have ammonia poisoning, which lines up with the story of water problems. Red streaks in the fins, swim bladder issue. And you've got Icex in there already. If there's no live plants, I would chuck some salt in there. If there is live plants, and being that there's 2 tanks there, you probably do have live plants, I would just keep a very close eye on the ammonia, make sure that stays down, and then watch for any deteriorating fins or anything like that, and then throw in some antibiotic like some Maricin or something like that if that is going on. But with that, there's a lot of stress going on for them right now. We don't want to increase that. So more meds is kind of just like, we already know they have ick. We already know they have ammonia poisoning. We already know all these things. Like, let's let them just process that and hate life through that. Then we can tackle more things as they come on, if they do. And that's a different scenario where when you have active infections, actively you have things wrong. That's a different scenario than this fish looks great. Here's 3 medicines. I want to make sure you stay great. If you're sick, let's target the sickness and treat those specific illnesses, then do anything else we need to do. But yeah, you've got a lot of things going on there, and finding out what the problem is the first step, and then trying to alleviate symptoms is the next step. And then after that, it'll be, how do we make sure this doesn't happen again? And that's kind of a hard thing, because if it's completely random, you're kind of at a loss. You should be able to get onto a list with your municipality to get like emailed if they're going to do a flush or something like that. Not all of them do it. I'm not even on that list. But the other thing, I'm trying to think, how could you detect chlorine or chloramine actively while you're changing water? There might be some kind of meter or something like that. I'm just not sure there. All right, I've seen that I've missed some other super chats and things. My apologies. I try to get to everything, as close to perfect as I am for a human. There's a mistake every once in a while. So, is a Planet tank realistic with a 20-gallon Aquarium tank as is? What mods would be necessary for success? I love listening to the podcast at work. Well, Benjamin, I think the only thing that you have to change, and I wouldn't even say you had to, highly, highly, highly recommend you do, though, is the light. The light that comes on those things is terrible, right? So you might be able to get some Crips to survive and get some Anubias to hang on, But if you can replace a light with just like any other better planted light, whether it's a Stingray, whether it's a Night Crew light, whether it's a Beamswork, like anything, whether it's a clip-on light you buy from the hardware store, anything. Upgrade that light. Everything else usable technically. It might be annoying to service, blah blah blah, but completely usable. So yeah, I think you can do it. And then as you enjoy it, you'll naturally want to be like, hey, this is making it better. I want this thing. I want this gadget now because I want to evolve. Can you put Tetris and Minnows together? I'm trying to think of yes. For the most part, yes. Yeah. I like that, Michael. Corey must be brothers. We're close to perfect, as we are. I know. It's hard to get through my day being so perfect. You almost like to see the mistakes, so it's a challenge. I tell you. Would I recommend testing tap water before changes? I don't recommend it because I don't think it's a practical thing. You know, to me, I think of it like it's like a food taster. Like if I was the king, you know, and you have someone taste the food, make sure you're not getting poisoned. I think that's the same thing with the testing of the water. I just don't. I think people are gonna like, yeah, I'm totally doing that. I'm that person, and then like 5 weeks into it, they're like, yeah, it's always the same. Why do I even do this? You know. So I'm not sure that that's going to be a practical solution. I mean, the practical solutions that I could come up with, chlorine's relatively easy. You can take it out with carbon, install a carbon block filter. You can get an RV carbon block filter. It just screws onto the end of a hose, and it does like 20,000 gallons at like $20. Let me see if I can find one on Amazon. Let's utilize this website thingy that I got going. Let me see if I can find it on Amazon, and I can show you what I'm talking about. RV water filter, I think. Yeah. All right. Let me try my button. Whoop. So you can see here something like this one, this bestseller. It basically has an adapter, so you screw a hose onto here, and out the other side you have water come out. And this is the same one. Oh, you can't see it on your screen really, but the one on the right, this one's got a twofer for 34 type of deal. And I want to say when I was really looking into them, they would do like 20,000 gallons. Let me see if it says. It's got removes particles up to 20 microns. I know they run with charcoal or carbon in there as well. Protects against bacteria. Yeah, it's not quite, here's more options, but you can, this is the one, right? And I think they sell them at like Walmart. I think they sell them at any RV place for sure. And what they're meant for is you attach them at a hose bib while you're camping, and you don't know how pure that water is. You want to just make sure it's reasonably okay for cooking with and all that. And they run about $20. And you can watch some little videos on how people have installed them, and you can kind of see how that works, right? And everyone's installing them at the beginning here. I believe you just can screw them right on the end. And I've thought about the reason I know about this, I was thinking about using it for koi ponds and that kind of stuff. And if we ever got real bad chlorine at the store, I would install these at the end of the hose. I would like install it right before my Python hook, and that would allow me to pull out a bunch of that chlorine that way. So, yeah. All right, I'm going to hit this and see if the thing goes crazy again. Did it go crazy? No. Okay, we're good. So yeah, that's the best way I think that you could protect yourself there. I know we've got some new members and some other doodads. Excel Valles Jr. and Jacob Richardson. Thank you. Ned Ryerson? What movie is that from? Ned? Jane Shell, can 2 fancy goldfish go in a 20 long or just one? Technically, they can go there. Practically, I don't think it's very practical. I personally, like, the rule I live my own fish keeping by is each goldfish needs 30 gallons for the first and 20 gallons for every additional one. That's just the way I keep fish. It's what I can keep up with and I've found success with. But for sure, could we put 15 goldfish in a 20-gallon at the store because we're selling them? For sure. Could we keep them alive for a pretty long time? Yes. But, you know, a long-term scenario? I don't think so. I mean, these things are huge. Like, that fish is like this. You know, and it's not even full grown. And 2 of those in a 20 just is going to be hard. Ooh, who won? It's first person to get it was... Oh, is it really Jacob? I think Jacob Richardson got it. He's probably heard that joke before. That's good. You're quick. Let's see. Lowest outside temp in a pond for a common pleco can endure. I mean, the water temp, I don't think it could go much lower than about 63. I don't know. I mean, they can get pretty cold in Florida, but I honestly don't know how cold they can go. Because we get way colder than that. So. All right. What am I talking about now? I love Groundhog's Day. I watch it every day for some reason. Yeah. See, it's stuff like that I want to just, you know, build a little more personality into some of these streams of like, oh, he likes Groundhog Day. Like, I like Groundhog Day. Okay. Yeah, okay. He's a person. I get it. Yeah. You should host a members-only trivia live stream. I have thought about like a Jeopardy or a trivia or something like that. I think even with this many people, like, when you ask a question, there'd be a lot of spam. So I'm not sure. How could I do that? I want something manageable because I want it to mean something, not just like, it's kind of a cluster. I don't know. You know, 2963 Jerry, you're the winner. Oh, wait a second, because I've done some in the past. Then you find out, like, wait, actually, this person was, or a technicality is happening. Like, you know, I don't want to cause a fight. Could leaving lights off for a month kill fish? I find it highly unlikely. I mean, anything's possible, but I'd be hard pressed to prove that did that. I really don't think that would be the case. Practical information saving me time and money. Sharing the love. Thank you, sir. From the River Life. I'm guessing I'll see Rack at one of the conventions coming up here in the next month or so. Yeah. We've done a little bit of trivia before. We did one on Jimmy's stream one time where we were actually trying to answer the questions. It was kind of hard and fun. But yeah, it's something that, you know, my brain's perused that thought pattern before. Ricardo de Leon. I have a 20-gallon tank. I want to have guppies. Any advice on how to cycle it to handle maybe 10 guppies at once? I bought a Val, a Nubius cophifolia. I'm waiting for Java Fern, Bacopa caroliniana, and a Scarlet Temple. Really, all you need to do is get those plants growing. So what I mean by that is when you're like, okay, I planted the Scarlet Temple, it was this big. When that Scarlet Temple's this big, and all your other plants have grown, they will handle adding the guppies. You add the guppies, the amount of waste they'll make is so low compared to what those plants are eating, and they'll be getting a lot of fertilizer you're putting in there, but cycle those plants, and the fish will just drop right in and love it. So, yeah. Deborah Cook, welcome to the membership team. How far are we? Like, we've had a decent amount of new members. We might be getting close to another emoji. Let me see. I'm hitting the refresh screen. What's the counter on the bottom right of the screen? In theory, that is how many live watchers there are, viewers, right now. I have no idea if that's accurate, but that's what it's supposed to be. Ha ha! Here we go. I had a Brocus Cory surprise spawn in my quarantine tank. About a dozen fry survived and are a month old. I noticed a couple have zigzag spines, but otherwise seem okay. What causes that? Usually just some damage to the egg. I mean, maybe like everyone's gonna be like, oh, calcium and all this, but maybe if you raise them in pure like RO water, definitely could be. But at the same time, I think it's just happen chance for the most part. Preston John's in the chat. If you're not following him on Instagram, which to be fair, I don't think I'm following him on Instagram. I'm following, I think, the hashtag Aquarium Co-Op, and he posted today. He was like, I say netting because you don't use a net for puffers, but he was transferring some puffers around, and he's been breeding the Shodenai. So, kind of cool guy to follow. Have the seed shrimp thrive for you? I find they're plant eaters for me, but the tetras love to eat them. Ken, as I remain transparent, I still have not looked. And I want to follow that up with, I 100% recognize the fact you brought those all the way to me, and I've put them in multiple locations to hopefully thrive. That being said, I have not taken dedicated time to really okay, let's net, let's look, do we have them? Because they're not in aquariums, they're in two different ponds, so I can't just look in. I gotta really try and peer, and I've got green water in the one outside, and the one inside's got clear water, but I gotta really net to see because I don't have lights on them. So that's I'm trying to justify. I am not in any way less appreciative of you bringing those to me, but in general, I'm a guy that just goes, awesome, put it there, let it do its thing, let's check it out later. And then I go, wow, it's really doing well. So, yeah, I really am appreciative, though, that you brought those. Just because Corey, Dorcula, the rescue dogs, and all the coop are awesome, I get $4.99. See? That's a good time. Never gets old to be told you're awesome, and you get $5. That's just good times. Well, we'll funnel that $5 into, old lady Sassy the Destroyer. She's going into the vet on Monday. She's getting really old, and she can't hold her bowels anymore. And even though we've bought 7,000 different types of dog diapers, all being the smallest possible, she only weighs about, I think she might be down to 4 pounds now. And we're going to have to start custom making them or trying it. And so we're going in just to see if the vet has any idea. We're looking into if she's now developing the intolerance to chicken and all that kind of stuff. So, it's stressful at home. She is old, but she's spry, and it's my wife's first dog, and she'll, my wife will essentially die when Sassy passes away. It'll be very hard on everyone, but especially hard on her. And, so hopefully we'll go in and they'll have this is, you get it some Maricin to clear it right up. I really hope that they just go, oh yeah, it's this. You guys are dumb. Just do it. Instead of yep, it's old. This is all you got. It's only getting worse from here. Here's a projection. No, that's not what we want to hear, but that's what we got to do on Monday. So we're hoping for the best. What % cut does YouTube take of memberships? I looked that up the other day. It was 30%. So they keep 30%. Yeah. Where's Preston? It's where's Waldo? I don't know. That dude travels more than I do. So it's kind of it could be anywhere in the world. For a while he was on Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. He was actually executive producer there. So that's why I learned to travel. All right. We got some more super chats. I have a 5-gallon tank I'm setting up at work. Can I do shrimp and guppies or just shrimp and nerite snails? I would try some shrimp and then maybe a pair of endlers, some smaller endlers or maybe panda guppies. It might not work, but it probably will work if it's densely planted, you're feeding okay. It can work. Yeah. Why do fish get dark spotted coloration like discus? So that's a defense mechanism. If you're out in the wild, you're being chased, you're trying to turn that color off so that you don't get attacked, right? So if they darken up and they're in the shadows, something might swim by and not keep chasing them. So that's mostly why fish change their color. My tap is 7.2 pH with a TDS of less than 15. What can I keep and breed without having to mess with water chemistry? Huge fan from Australia. In my opinion, nothing. Let me quantify that by saying I have very similar water. I'm 6.8 and TDS is 23. So not very far off. But long term, you get pH crashes and all that kind of stuff. If you add crushed coral, which I run crushed coral, there's crushed coral in every single aquarium I have, both here and at the store. Some crushed coral will prevent all of that. Then, literally, you can keep anything. So my advice is use crushed coral, 1 pound per 10 gallons of water, sprinkled throughout the gravel, and then keep anything you want. And I think that's a small price to pay. It's not an additive every time, and you do got to replace it maybe every year to 18 months, but I find it to be highly effective and worth it. Twin City Guppy says, do you think you can overdo water changes to the point you end up uncycling your filter? If so, how much water change will do that? If no, never mind. Assuming you're taking out chlorine out of the water and everything, I don't think you can uncycle a filter. That being said, you can definitely, I think it's very stressful on fish. So, in a perfect world, if you stop thinking about them as fish, but we want maximum outcome from least amount of work. So, if you could water change once a month, 20%, and your guppies were the best they could be, and instead you're changing 50% of water every single day and that's causing stress, that is clearly worse than once a month. And I think that's what we're striving for. And a lot of times we as hobbyists go, well, I'd rather be safe and overchange water than underchange. But we now that we can automate and things like that, we have gone full circle into like, oh yeah, you know, a lot tanks in the store water change 3 times a day or 4 times a day, very small amounts though, and we have very high densities, and if we don't do that we run into problems. But even here I have a tendency to over water change, so I'm constantly like, try and dial it back more, dial it back, we don't need to be doing this. So yeah. How long for nitrites to become nitrates in the cycle? I don't know that answer. Practically somewhere between 1 and 3 weeks. But depends on where you're in the cycle, depends on if you have anything inhibiting it. Are you using ammo lock? Are you using dechlorinators? Are you using, you know, additives? There's a lot of things going on. Next, I want to talk about the sponge filter. Which we're currently sold out. More should be in on Monday. FYI. We have all the other sizes, not this one. My camera seems too high. Let me... There. So we got... This is the perfect time. I can't talk. Let me see if I can do it. Can I make this work? Let me see.
Yes, that sequence of words I said made perfect sense.
Anyway. We've been getting emails and stuff that says like, hey, I've got bubbles coming out of my sponge, like out of the side and out of the tube. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that to make Candy's job easier and maybe make it better for everybody, right? Do you think this camera shifted back up? I just feel like I'm having to hold this like way high. What's the deal here? Like, stop. Anyway, so we pump air in. It has to flow back up through the center and up the tube. So like in one we got today, someone had modified the tube to be much smaller. Well, when you modify the tube, there's less suction. Inherently, that's going to be less suction pulling the air bubbles up the center, right? So we want to make sure we're using an uplift tube. The other thing, we want to use an air stone. Well, you don't have to use an air stone, but if you are, it needs to be straight. Right? So this is our air stone. It can't be like this because obviously the bubbles are going to want to come out the side now. Like we're putting it down in there sideways. Like it's going to want to, oh, bloop, 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 bloop. So you want it straight. And that's why I keep it short. If you put a long piece in and you put this long piece, it's much more likely to get turned, right? The other thing is, if you just put an insane amount of air through here, and we did a lot of testing, Dean and I, you just crank that air through here as fast as your giant fish food pump will go. There's so much air going in, it all can't come back out this tube fast enough, and you will get air out. Now there is a way to hot rod this to make it work, but I don't want you guys to do it. And the reason I say that is because typically the average person thinks faster and more air and that kind of stuff is better. That's not the case. But if you really had to do it, this is how you pull it off. Again, I highly don't recommend you do this, but this is how you would pull it off. All right? The goal is we have to make sure that the air travels up straight. If we put an insane amount of air through this, air is coming out all over the place. You could swap this tube or cut this tube in half or get another tube and do what I'm about to show you. You take it off here. You now put it on the underneath side, right? We made it so it could do this. Not that anyone should ever need to, but hey. So now you're still pumping air in there a lot, and it can go all the way down. It's really, and it'll still keep going up. And look at this. Still fits inside. Now the problem you run into, you would want to shorten this tube because this long, if you have the tube that long, well, it can only pull water in this far down, right? So you'd want it to not be very much longer than the actual air stone. Keep the air stone short. And you can make a lot of flow go through this. Now again, you should never need that much air going through there. This is purely an exercise in could we do it? How much air could we possibly push through a sponge filter if we were trying? We wanted to really run through the paces with these things before we unleash them on the world. So there is some quirks, like this thing is designed to work with a never clog air stone. It'll work with other ones. It'll work without an air stone. All that, but it's designed to have this short air stone straight up and down, installed, rock and roll forever. So, yeah, I talked to Candy this morning about it, and I said I wasn't going to share that secret. And as long as it has the right disclaimer of just don't do it, you don't need it. Not a single one of mine's doing it. Not a single one of Dean's is doing it. We only did it for testing. We only wanted to see could we push the limits, could we. If we ever needed to, there's, I don't even want to say what the very specific use cases are because then people are going to try it. And I'm like, no, it's so far out there. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. Like, just make sure you got the air stone, it's straight, and you don't have just an army of air going through there, and you'll be great. You'll be good. So, all right. Where did I leave off? A betta developed mild red streaks in the fins, and color seems muted, but no spots. Derpy with food and misses it sometime. Lively otherwise. Is that a concern? I would say yeah. I would look at water, look at temperature, look at pH, look at ammonia, look at nitrite, look at hardness, look at maybe TDS if you had to. But don't skip any of those. Don't skip heat. Don't skip the temp. Like, I would want at least 76, but I would keep it 78, 80. Yeah. Ambist Aquatics, welcome. And Chad Kratz, shut up and take my money. I would be lying if I wasn't looking to download that and use it somehow in my stream, because I do love Fry, as I've shown other Futurama mentions in here. Let's see. Auntie M says, great info, I'll fix my filter now. Yeah, if you had a little bit of air coming out, that's the way you fix it. It's just, that's why most companies, well, I shouldn't say most, because I haven't surveyed every of them, but a lot of those sponge filters, they have it, that center piece that goes all the way down, so you can't put an air stone in, so you can't possibly have it be off, right? Yeah, it's just, that's the dealie. How do you attach the air stone to the filter? With a short piece of airline tubing? Yes, exactly. So right here. Let me pull this off. This is just a very small piece of airline tubing that I put on there. Oh yeah! I put it on there more now. And then the nipple underneath here. There we go. Air will rise straight up in there. As we intended, which will be good. It's goldfish nap time! Indeed. Twin City says, never even thought about flipping the tube. Genius! Yes, I mean, all I'll say is this. Is imagine myself, a few others, Dean, have been actively working with this design for like a year, trying to break it, trying to make it better, trying to make it do different things. Here's ideas, here's things, here's things, here's things, here's things. We find out all these little things, and then we like, does that even matter? Is anyone ever going to need to do that trick? Is that even a thing? Like, well, no, but that's how we know that trick exists. And the corner case of it being useful is so far out there. It's like, no one needs that, because we tried drilling holes in them. We did all kinds of stuff because we wanted to make sure we were honestly creating the best thing we could think of at the time. All our brains together. Is this the best we can make with all of our, between all of us? Maybe we use sponge filters for 50 years. Like, what did you like? What did you like? What did you like? What do you like? Grant Cook made the live stream. That's what I'm talking about, Grant. It's about time, buddy. Is a sponge filter more effective if an air stone is down as far as possible? It would, as long as you kept the bubbles straight up, technically it would have more lift. So the answer to that would be yes. That being said, you would get better lift out of a longer top tube, technically. Also, we're getting to the point where we're talking about maximizing something that doesn't need to be maximized. Let me use an analogy. You own a Prius, right, that is crazy fuel efficient, and you're asking, is it technically gonna save me gas if I turn it off every time I go down a hill? Will it save me some? And it's like, I mean, technically maybe yes, but the gains are so small, no, just don't do that. Like, it's like we're really talking minuscule amounts. And kind of the same thing here of like, yeah, if you really wanted to make it more efficient, but at that point I'd be like, you should just go with an entirely different design. If you're looking for that level of efficiency, like, what is it you need to do? That would be my question. Like I think before I would go down further in the sponge, I would examine other types of airstone and bubble size. Because when you get into the dynamics of airlift systems, when you read the studies, it comes down to diameter of tubing, the tube, size of air bubble, channeling, do the air bubbles collect on the way up, that channels, and then the big thing there is actually the tubing. One of the things we could really optimize if we were really, really trying, and I don't think we should, but if you add much smaller airline tubing that fit over that nipple, so instead of 1/4 inch, you went to 1/16 of an inch, that would allow much more upflow through there. That being said, now you're looking at a custom product, now you're doing all this work to go like, it's fractionally better. So my response is, yes, but don't worry about it. Not even a thing, really. So, yeah. Tank Yusuf Khan? Tank Yusuf Khan? Wait, Tarek Yusuf Khan is now a member. Welcome, buddy. Welcome. Don't buy too much heater for the water volume. It heats the water faster, and some tanks may shut down too quickly if water is not flowing well. Also, I cooked my fish by accident by using an old big heater. I think you could argue either way on that. The one thing that I think is strictly just better is taking wattage and splitting it up. So if you had a 300 watt heater, I would always rather have 3 100 watt heaters. But other than that, are smaller bubbles better for airlift purposes? Yes. It's also a little quieter, but technically, what you're really striving for is uniform lift. So when we don't use an air stone, we get like blub, 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 blub. That's kind of like blub, 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 blub. It's like not uniform. The finer the bubbles, the more like of a stream you get going that really just creates a never-ending lift, like an escalator, right? Whereas like the big bubbles are more like a elevator. So like bloom, bloom, bloom. And then the fine bubbles, that escalator is like, oh yeah, it just keeps going, right? I never thought about that, but that's a really good way to explain the fine bubbles versus like no air stone. That's actually, I think, a great analogy for that. So, all right. Am I going to design one that suction cups to the glass? I'd love much more room in the tank with those. No, I don't plan on doing a suction cup one, mostly because I think the only one that makes sense would be designing one that used magnets, because suction cups will always fail at some point. They're invariably more difficult to service when you're trying to get a suction cup off, and I believe magnets would be the way I would go personally if I was going to design that product. Very good earth magnets, have it be held well. That is how I believe that product needs to be designed. Can I make a video for us fish nerds? Maybe. I want to put my plumbing in for my fish room, looking at plumbing from the heater to the timer and into the fish tank. So I don't know if I have a video that's going to be like that specific, but I definitely have all the plumbing that I've ever done in my fish room is in like the fish room videos. So I know like my current water change system's been done. I know before it. I know that I've done like one of the store tours. I really showed how we did the water change system there. So I bet you there's 3 or 4 videos that have 90% of the info that's in there on how to do it, without specifically being like at your house going, oh, you're going to do this little tweak here because you have a weird thing that no one else has. Have I gone to Shanghai yet? I've been to most of the tropical fish markets there. No, I haven't. I go in November, like kind of around Thanksgiving time. Top 3 places to visit in Washington State? It's hard for me. Where would I go? I mean, I feel like you have to do like Pike Place Market. That's in Seattle. And then you have to like kind of go, I think Snoqualmie Falls, like getting out into that nature and you're like, dang, your state is dope. And then like another one would be like, usually a quintessential like seafood restaurant. Like those are places you kind of have to go out here and you're like, wow, the seafood is great. Dang, you got crazy nature. And then like, wow, Pike Place Market is cool. You know, yeah, you can go to my store. Yeah, you could do a bunch of other things. But those are the things that most people do. You know, I try to do a little bit of different stuff if I'm hosting, but I do whatever people want to do, really. All right, what time is it? 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock. How many members are we away from a new glub, 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 glub emoji? 25 away. We're miles away. Miles away! If you're on the fence, fall over into the yard. Join the team. Welcome, WCO Caboose. That's how that's said, by the way. Amy says, I've got a common goldfish. Would you consider putting one or more in your 800 gallon, or would they be too fast and eat all the food? Yeah, so they do get a little bit after the food. That's kind of one of the problems. But when these guys spawn, which they already have been spawning in there, the male comets are really like aggressive for those females because they're just so quick and Whereas like a female comet, the males have to drive the eggs out of it. That one kind of works, but a male comet driving out of the females, it's pretty rough on them. So that's one of the reasons I don't really mix. My rule is don't mix single-tailed goldfish with fancy-tailed goldfish. So, you know, I don't mix turbunkins and comets with like the fish I have. Don't get me wrong, I really, like I've got some in the fish room. I love comets, I love turbunkins, but I think it's kind of, there's a few exceptions there. That would be like walk-ins or wake-ins. You know, they're almost single-tailed goldfish, which is a little bit of a twist. So, Jesse Phillips, welcome. Welcome. Do I remember the stork or crane, whatever that bird was that terrorized my koi and ate one? Freaking hate that bird. Yes, his name is Moriarty. And he came back this summer, but the new pond being deep enough, we never had any problems. The neighbors said they watched him watch it, but he never made an attempt. And so in theory, my 6-foot deep pond, I made it correct. Haven't lost any to any predators. We did buy a net because we were worried. We didn't put it on, but we had it ready just in case. But I really like to enjoy a pond without a net on it. So far, so good. Eurabeth, welcome as a new member. My next guppy variety should be called Sasquatch Guppy in honor of the Washington State. Well, if I was going to do that, I would have to name it Sam Squanch after Trailer Park Boys, because my wife would not allow me to not name it that. If I was going to say Sasquatch, it'd have to be Sam Squanch. Currently building caves and a background for my axolotls, and I'm going to put plants on it and in the tank. What's the substrate that the axolotls won't eat and get impacted? I don't think there is one. I think you need to stick with like Anubias, Bulbitis, Java ferns. Like, they're going to eat it. Fine sands, they can usually pass, but there are times they get compacted with it too. Yeah. Jesse Phillips, thanks for all you do. Thanks for the $2, buddy. You became a member and $2. I appreciate it, man. Honestly. Just spit out my Coca-Cola. Sam Squanch? That's right. There's all this side that you don't know. Trailer Park Boys, cartoons. You know. I'm well cultured. In the 90s. Oh, my phone. Is it a notification to eat dinner? Or is it... Yes. So literally, I get a reminder that says... I don't know if you guys see it. To log my dinner. And I know this is going to seem crazy, so I'm just going to start with that because of my weight. But I am a guy that will work without eating. So like today, and... Part of the reason I don't lose more weight is because I have terrible eating habits. I didn't eat until like 1:30 today. I went to the gym, hung out with grandma, ate, and then now, so I ate probably 1:30 to 2. Now it's 6, and my alarm is basically telling me like, hey, you need to eat, buddy. Like, don't not eat. Because it's too easy for me just to get into the next thing, doing the next thing, and then pretty soon, it'll be 9, and I'll be really hungry. And then, of course, I'm like, oh, I'm going to overeat. And then it's like, oh, and now my body's just slower because I worked out way earlier in the day. And that is something I need to work on. And I need to force, like, no joke, this is going to sound ridiculous. And I fully get it. But I need to eat just more calories. We've been tracking it, and the personal trainer's like, dude, you don't eat enough. Like, literally, 1,200 calories a day is, like, not enough if you're working out and we're doing all this, like... Not good. Like, you need to be eating some more. And I'm like, I'm busy, man. And he's like, I mean, I get it. You know, but I'm doing things like, I have to carry more, like, things of, like, nuts and that kind of stuff in my cars. Because I'm just always on the go. Yesterday, I left my house at 10. And I didn't get back till 7:30. And it was just in meetings. Like, I was at the store... Or I got my hair cut, then I was at the store doing that. Didn't get out of there till like 2:30. Went to the warehouse, was there. Didn't get out of there till 7. And I just don't put a priority on food, which typically you see overweight people and you go, oh, that guy eats all the time. And for me, I eat rarely. But when I do eat, I do love to eat. Don't get me wrong, I love food. I get it, you know. But I don't make it a priority, and I need to make it a priority because if I ate not even healthier, more regularly, that would stop ups and downs and blood sugar levels, all kinds of stuff. So, yeah. What fish are good with no heaters? I'm trying to think if I have a video about this. There's going to be like a lot of the Danio family. What else? Like Hillstream loaches. A lot of the barbs can go unheated. A lot of minnows, like white cloud minnows. Some of the Corridoras. I know there's more, but my brain is not catching up. Ken says, thanks, Corey. You're the best. Stay awesome. Don't I know it, brother? Don't I know it? Why is my pre-filter sponge always falling off? That's because it's not staying on. No, but how do I explain this without having one near me? I've got videos on this, by the way. But, so, oh no! Dang it! I really got to put, if you were watching 2 live streams ago, or 3 live streams ago, something just fell and like is now at the back crevice of no man's land. Dang it. Alright. So you've got an intake sponge. It'd be closed on one side, right? This one's not, but for the demonstration, closed on one side. You've got this hole. This hole, if we, like, how do I explain it? If you had an intake tube that was very smooth, right? There's not a lot to grab onto here because it's you know, not coarse or rough. That's the word I was looking for. So it's just it slides really easy, right? So I have to do this demonstration here. So nothing to grab onto, right? Whereas like the inside of the sponge filter, it's got all these ridges and not smooth. Like if I do this, I'm gonna rip my skin off. Same thing, right? Listen, like, you hear that? That's the roughness we need. So when you listen to this, right? That it's got to hold on there. That's why it's so tight. Now on your uplift tube, it's probably a rigid piece of plastic like this. It's probably bigger than this, but this is for the demonstration. And you put it on there, and because it's so smooth, it needs some grip. So one of the things you can do, if this was your intake tube, you could like put some rubber bands here, but they're gonna fall off like after every 3 months, so that's not a long-term solution. You could put some zip ties there because then you'll have some little parts poking out that'll kind of grab onto it. But what I do is I go and I get, dang it, why must I be defeated? All right, I'll just be back. I'm gonna get parts because I know I have the parts, so I'm gonna grab them, and you're gonna see my sweaty back probably. Whew. All right, found one even. So these are pieces of tubing. This is a piece of old tubing that I used on a drain line. This is a piece of like rubber silicone tubing. Like you can get this at like Home Depot. You can order it online. But the goal is you would want to make a snug fit on something like this. Like this isn't the right size. This usually fits like an aqua clear and that kind of stuff, which I could probably go get. All right, let me go get another part because this is like one of the #1 asked questions, and I'll have Jimmy like clip this part out and just make it a little video for Candy because we get it asked all the time. So let me get it. I'm just gonna fail today. We took them all and gave them away already. But you want something like this, or this tubing. You can heat it up with boiling water to get it more pliable. This one's super pliable, right? Vinyl tubing takes a little bit of coaxing. You want to get it, boil some water, dip it in there, get it pliable. And then what your goal is to stretch it over, you know, the intake tube. Then just go ahead and clip that off. So now you've got this rubber, right? I don't know if you can hear that squeaking. But again, now this rubber piece, right, stays on there. So you need to build this vinyl or silicone or whatever piece of rubber, grommet to go around your intake, and you'll have an actual intake sponge that will stay attached. And it doesn't need to be a huge piece. Like usually I make a piece like this big. It just has to be a little band around your intake that gives this a little bit of grip to hold on to, and you're golden. It's still on our to-do list to actually develop a piece that we could sell that would fit in multiple filters. It's another task to do. I just thought of something. Wonder if I could like design one that is multi-purpose, like an extra tall one. And you can see, by the way, these are different porosities. So this is finer than this, but this runs on bigger canister filters. This runs on air. So, all right, that's quite a derail there, but it is one of our most asked questions, and it's hard for people to understand. Once you see it, you're like, of course I could do that. That makes all kinds of sense. So, yeah. I tell you what, yes. Need a live cam on the 800? Yeah, why? There's a reason why I don't. I can't remember. I don't remember why, but yes. All right. Down for a morning lift session before Aquashella? Possibly. The reason I say possibly is I may work out like at the hotel before I go. That being said, day 3? Yeah, day 3 is the hardest. After spending all day on the concrete, it's brutal. But I am going to try and work out. I'll have my wife with me. We'll see how it goes. Some nights are crazy late at Aquashella. Yeah, we'll see. All right. I wonder if a bead of silicone will work around the tube. It should work, but you'd have a long dry time, and so it would only really work if you're like setting up a brand new aquarium, because otherwise you wouldn't want to be like, oh, so let my filter not work for 24 hours or something. Do you know if Plexi warps if fully submerged? Yeah, it probably will. Yep. Maboo puffer shirt and coupe green filter order. Ooh, finally broke down. And admitting to myself, I'm a coupe fanboy. There's nothing worse. Those coupe fanboys, oh, they're just annoying and clingy, and they try and be witty, and they talk about Hank Hill and tacos and candy. Something worse than having like 5 Corys in the same room. Just realized Corey has a Titan chair. That's what I want so bad. YouTube Dat Boy, if you're local, you can have Jimmy's old chair that's a Titan chair. I'm actually not a huge fan of these chairs. They were just so expensive, I can't bring myself to go buy another one. I honestly really want to buy a mesh-backed chair. Half the reason I'm always sweaty and overheating is this leather just gets super hot. I bought these last Black Friday on super sale, and really, Jimmy was having back problems editing. You know, and he was wearing like a back brace, and so I bought them for him. And now that he's not here, it's just, you know, they're well built. They're just not comfortable for me, I guess. Like when I sit in Jimmy's like, he's always got the super lean back, so he'd be editing like this, like just doing his moves. But I'm a guy that like, I gotta really sit up. I like to be, you know. Yeah. Anyway, but I would buy, if I was going to buy a Titan chair, I'd buy a knockoff. And honestly, I really want, if someday I'm good to myself, I want to try out a Herman Miller chair. Is that what they're called? Like the Aeron 2. They're all mesh and they're supposed to be the bee's knees, but they're like $1,000. So I'd probably try. I've been looking, I kind of watch for them on Craigslist and that kind of stuff. See if I can get one real cheap. Taco Fun from Jesse Phillips, thank you. Want to change substrate all in one go or in parts? I just do it all at once. Siphon it out, get a siphon going with a tube and just all the way through there. Get all the little parts out in the corners. And then scoop the new substrate, take it all the way down to the bottom, and then release it. If you just drop it in, any particle is going to cloud that water up something fierce. Tell you what. So that's the way I do it. Needs a mesh back good chair with a mesh back will change your life. See, I think you even said that. Yeah, so they were talking about the Titan chair. I know that someone who spends this much at a desk, I really should be on a mesh back chair. I have a really hard time spending that kind of money on something like that. Like it's weird. Some things like brand new iPhone, bought it, pre-ordered it, boom. It's what makes me money. I use it all the time, every single day. It makes sense to invest in that technology. Whereas like this chair, I'll be hating myself in 20 years when I don't have a back and it's exploded and I have to get a backiotomy. But, right now it's like, this is real expensive for a chair. Like, and then I'm always worried that people are going to judge me. Half of it is like, I'm worried, like, are people judging me for a Titan chair? They're going to be like, that's a $400 chair. And then all of a sudden I got a $1,000 chair. Like, look at Corey, big time, and took all our memberships, bought him a chair. Must be nice to sit in $1,000 chairs. Like, no, not trying to be that guy, not trying to flex. Like, I'm honestly, like, anti-flex. Like, check out how cool this stuff is. It's, I'm just a normal dude with a messy desk that, like, this desk that I'm on right now is legit. We paid $50 for it when a business went out. Jimmy and I went and bought all these desks and some chairs. I still have those chairs. We still use them. They're just even less comfortable than this one. So your body makes money. I know. I'm working out. Trust me. I'm on this. My biggest fear is I haven't sat in one yet, so I don't want to spend like $1,000. Get it. Turns out this thing sucks, like I hate it, and then I can't return it or something. So I need to like find where's the ridiculously overpriced mesh chair store, and then go spend some time in it. Because I have learned 10 minutes in a home or a Office Depot or an Office Max, you're like, this chair is awesome. And then 7 hours into like doing work, you're like, my back, oh my God, what have I done? Right? And then you're like, can't return this chair. They ain't taking that back. I sat in it for 2 days. There's a $200 chair. It's useless. Great. So that's my fear is I've gone through enough chairs. It's like, dang it. This is not the one. It's kind of like trying beds, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, Aubrey gets it. Got to talk to Samson. That's right. Those little side memes. Autonomous has a $400 mesh chair and they're great. Autonomous. I'm saying that so I hopefully remember it and I'll look into it. Yes. Oh man. Flueball rep only hears I'm anti-flex. That's right. It's pretty much true. Dwayne, I'm breeding some mollies for profit. I have 2 separate batches of fry. 1 in a 20 long, 1 in a 29. What is the healthiest, fastest way to grow them, and how long does it take to get them fry for sale? In general, for live bears, I find a 90-day cycle. From 90 days they're born, you can have them ready to sell at a good size at 90 days. Definitely mix in some live foods, some frozen foods, lots of water changes, and feed them. Get auto feeders on there, and think about it. If a fish grows 1% every time it's fed, you need if you feed them once a day, you're like, okay, after a week they've grown 7%. Well, after a month, they're 25, 28% bigger or 30% bigger. It's like, okay. But if they were this, now they're 30% bigger. That means they're this, right? But if you're like, wait, if I feed 4 times a day, they got that much bigger in 1 week. And it kind of is that way. So it's just like, if you can start feeding them 3-4 times a day, 2 hours between feedings, they'll get that like 1% growth several times a day. And it really does add up. We've got a flurry of new members. We've got Tracy A., Louis Mendez, and Ryan Pierce bringing in the rear. I use a very desk. Goes from standing to sit down pretty easy. I can't sit all day. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm a stand and desk kind of guy. I feel inherently like I'm not, but never tried it, so. Corey, is it true that guppies are rubbish after 6 months? No, that's taken out of context, kind of. Know that English is not his main language. What he was trying to convey there is, if guppies are being sold to like a consumer at 6 months, it's rubbish in the fact that we could have done way better, got them at 3 months. They're way more fertile. They're going to be more boisterous. They're going to acclimate to people's water a lot better. And it's like saying, no, that's rubbish. They shouldn't have to deal with that. That's what he's trying to convey in that message in that video. Not that 6-month-old guppies are going to die or that they are rubbish. It's that at that point in the cycle, someone should have already been enjoying them and really, in his mind, so you got to remember, in his mind, he's getting them that big in 30 days, in 60 days. In his mind, a dedicated aquarist could do way better than what they're doing because, like, I only got to manage 1 tank. I could get them way bigger. When we kind of know, like, dude, you're a master. Like, they are better in your care than they are in my care. Like, you're going to get them way bigger than I'll ever get them. But in his care, you can imagine, like, that guy's own personal tank. Guppies at 6 months are like, like this. You got to carry them on your shoulder, catch them with a harpoon. So, new member, welcome Palmer Aquatics. We should do a like spike, just saying. All right, I'm not going to fight you on. See, this is one of those things. I want to press a button, and I want all kinds of buzzers and alarms and crazy stuff to go down, and maybe a countdown, and then the like spike. But I haven't built that yet, so we're just going to have to go for the old manual like spike. We're going to count it down from 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Like spike. Oh, Candy's too good to me. She already Googled the autonomous chair, took a screenshot, and has it waiting for me in my messenger so that I have post show notes of like, oh yes, did want to save my back before it exploded. Thank you. I appreciate that, honestly. All right. So the other day I was doing some plant pruning and happened to look in the back filter area of the tank and saw 2 little babies. That's a surprise because I never saw any eggs. Rainbow fish fry eggs are very small. They can be seen with the naked eye, but you really got to be looking for them. And what that should reinforce is fish are laying eggs and fish are hatching every day in most aquariums. They're just getting eaten. So if we can create little areas where they can't get to, yeah. All right. I trained less once. I trained less once at the Fishy Mailman. I don't know what that means. I'm not privy to that lingo. I do have an itchy nose, though. Let's see here. Favorite kind of platy, molly, and sword? For platies would be Variatus, Sunset Variatus platies. Mollies would be Dragon Blood mollies, and swordtails would be the Blood Red hide fins. But does anyone remember this? Maybe in the Wayback Machine, like 9 years ago. Does anyone remember the like powder blue swordtails that were on Aquabid? What happened to those things? I know they weren't breeding that true, but those things looked ridiculously cool. I still troll Aquabid hoping they're gonna pop up. And now that I'm a guy that has more than like $1.72 to spend on fish, I'm going to buy them next time I see them. Because back in the day, I'm just a little hobbyist. And they were going for like $100 a pair. There's no way Dorkula was allowing that to go down. No way. So, but I am on the lookout for those because I want to play with them. Even if they don't breed true, I'd like to play with them some just because that's it's the fish that got away for me. Finally, I can use this other sound clip. All right, we have a new member. Welcome. Where'd it go? JL Tayloriv? 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 I don't know how to say it. I think it's multiple things, but let's try my clip.
Swimming, Swanson? Maybe it's on the briefcase. Look on the... Oh, yeah! It's right here. Samsonite. I was way off. I knew it started with an S, though.
That's right. All right. We got a new super chat from Eric Young. I have a 20 tall and was thinking about stocking it with some neon tetras, some shrimp, maybe some snails, and a betta. Is it too much? And will there be any foreseeable problems? The betta might hunt down those shrimp, but it's a reasonable setup we've done quite a few times. Technically, the betta could go after the neons. I would say 8 out of 10 times. That's probably a working setup, and 2 out of 10, it's throwing your money down a hole. But odds are in your favor, you know, especially if you're on it like, oh, I've got the whole weekend off. Let's introduce this betta last. He's on a rampage. Let me catch that betta out. Go with plan B, that type of thing. And, yeah, we'll go from there. Do we... Hey, do you guys have mosquito fish? I need some from aquaponics setup. I could come by if you do. Ryan, unfortunately, those are illegal in Washington State. So we don't have any. And we can't get you any either. So is there a good alternative like white clouds? I mean, there's other fish you can do, but Gambusia affinis, at least, the standard one, and I think it's a whole Gambusia complex, is illegal in Washington State. So I think we're just hard-pressed on that one, buddy. Ivy is in the 4th, so it's J.L. Taylor the 4th. Man, I was way off. All right. Ooh, mine's got to be high-fin balloon swords. I do have a soft spot for those derpy mollies, balloon mollies. And we have... I don't know if I've seen the high-fin balloon sword. We've had balloon sword tails. I don't know if I've seen the high-fin version, though. Yeah. Almost 1,000 people here, not even 500 likes. Come on, man! Let's hit that like button. Yeah. Yes, mosquito fish are illegal in Washington, which is hilarious because they're like mandatory in California. But hey, different states, different laws, different things. There's other things you can do with it there. Yeah. Corey, you're a dork. That being said in the best possible way. Yes, definitely. I know how to get down with the nerds. You know, it's kind of my forte, if you will. Do I ever see myself investing in an algae centrifuge? I don't know. I hope I'm at the point someday where I need an algae centrifuge because, I mean, you just get chicks when you say like, oh, I have an algae centrifuge system. And they're like, dang, wow, you know. But no, it was super cool. I want to see it in action. I'm actually trying to go back with my wife to Israel to just like spend way more time there. And the guy's name there is Ran, R-A-N, Ran. Super duper nice and accommodating, like ridiculously cool dude, knowledgeable, and we were just rushed, you know. That's why in the video he's like, come on, come over here, we gotta get more in. And I would love to be like, you know, learn all day long and then go, you know, like, oh, we slept. Hey, that thing we saw yesterday, can you tell me more about that? My brain processed that at about 11:30 at night, and I was like, wait a second, what about this? So yeah, I hope to go back with my wife because I think she'll love Israel as well, and just seeing that facility is insane. So, yeah. When I do water changes, do I turn off canister filters? No, I don't. Let it flow, buddy. I just let it flow. I'm actually new to the live videos. Is this the like button? That's pretty close. That is the Coop like button, but there's actually, like on YouTube, there's a little thing that says like, oh, do you like this video, or thumbs down it? And you could hit that, oh, I like this video. And that sends a very little tiny signal to YouTube that goes, hey, I done liked what that guy's doing. Maybe show me some more of that guy's crap later, and if I like it again, YouTube will show me a lot of that stuff. But for right now, it's like, hey, that wasn't so bad. But you start showing a pattern to YouTube and it goes, whoa, you actually like this fool? Hold up, let's start showing this guy to more people. You know, and that's really how YouTube works, is like, huh, this guy's doing a half good thing. Let's see if some other people like that. All right, let's show them. No, they hate it. Close that guy back down. Do not let that guy out of that place. That is not good. Oh, he's doing good again. Let's give him another try. And eventually, if they show you to the right audience, then, okay, yeah, we'll give him some more viewers. Why not? Why not? Dwayne Perry became a member. Thank you much. I know people were asking, what is the member goal? We are 15 away, my friends. 15 away from the next emoji meme. Ooh, I want to create some called like an meme. That's right, not e-meme, like, you know, meme, but it's like a further meme on meme. You know, say meme instead of meme. All right, you guys know. You're cooler than I am. Where am I at? I'm a little lost. I think I've got a super chat in the wings. I just acquired some blue platies. Those fish I love. I've done them a few times. That neon blue color, sometimes the Mickey Mouse or the wagtail on them. Choice. Got to keep them pure though. They can get a little bit dulled out, but man, that fish in the right light, every time I have to buy them. Every time. Every time. Yes. Oh, I found the like button. I had to hit the chat. Had to hide the chat. Yes, depending on which, you know, are you on a phone? Are you on a tablet? Are you on a desktop? They hide that thing all over the place. If you're on a TV, I'm pretty sure it doesn't even exist. Yeah. So, Chris Swan throwing in $2 to the taco fund. I'd be lying if I didn't have the rest of my lunch still here, which is I had enchiladas. I've got some rice left, and I will be devouring that while I game. Because that's the kind of dude I am. Going, if I eat all of my Mexican food now, there'll be none for later. So, I literally was like eating it like this before I went live to like eat a little more. Again, trying to fit in more food. But after, post live stream, the Mexican eating game is strong. So, not often I get to see a live chat. Well, I'm kind of doing these a little sporadically. I did one Saturday morning. Now I did one like Saturday afternoon. Maybe the next one's Tuesday at 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't know. Kind of when inspiration hits me and I just want to hang. I've got a big looming project of like, do I want to dive into something that's going to suck? Or do I want to hang out with my peeps? And it's kind of an easy decision there. So I hang out with the peeps. Rana Loca. Living the Vida Loca, right? Yeah. I ordered a bunch of stuff last week for my new pea puffer tank. I got the Aquarium Co-Op sponge filter, and it absolutely sucks. No. It says, and it didn't come with an uplift tube. Candy was able to get one to me quickly. Yes. So we are finding that there is some percentage of these sponge filters coming from the factory missing the tube. It's a very small percentage, and we're tallying it up. But right now it's like, oh, that's 0.0097% of a percent, right? Percent of a percent, is that right? Yes. But we can, you know, get some replacements and that kind of stuff. We had someone get 2 in 1. Makes sense. Like if you're putting them in a box and you put 2 in 1 and skip the next one, that makes sense. Hopefully we want to dial that. It's really hard to eliminate that stuff, but we want to keep it way small. And so we'll go back and stress like we really need it to be in the box. You know, because Rana Loca as nice as that person is, if we ship her another one without a tube, she will be disappointed. And we don't want to disappoint them, right? We don't. So, just so you know, I had tacos for dinner. My man. I guess I didn't read your name. I was assuming you're a man. It's a saying, my man. Anyway, you know that. Why do I justify everything? What fish do I recommend for my aquaponics? It's 35 gallons, and I don't want goldfish. Rock gold white clouds. Gold white clouds, they're hardy, they look cool, they spawn easy, they live in a wide variety, they'll tolerate whatever growth juice you're going to be pumping in there to grow whatever else you got going. Gold white cloud, you can do normal white clouds, but gold white clouds just add a little bit of pizzazz to it. If you really want to get crazy, go with some Japanese rice fish if you can track those down. Yeah. Who's going to Aquashella? Who's coming with me, man? Who's coming with me? Jan? Thank you, Jan. I'll be going. My wife will be going. I believe Jimmy will be there. I assume Lizzie will be there. I think Twin City Guppies is going to be there. I know like Flip Aquatics and Creative Pet Keeping and Jason from Primetime Aquatics, Mike from Aqua Pros, Joey from King of DIY. I think I heard Rachel O'Leary is going to be there. I'm sure there's like 15 others that off the top of my head have now gone. So, a decent amount. Bring the taco hat? Turbo Fish. You clearly don't know how hard it is to get a replacement taco hat. Can you imagine that getting lost on the way there? Or, heaven forbid, damaged? That is not an easy thing to track down. I mean, I keep it in the fireproof vault, only taking it out when I have a firefighter on scene to make sure if anything was to go down, we can salvage it. It is an artifact and should be treated as such. You can't just be taking it around for walks into Chicago, into New Jersey. Like, that's not safe. There's way too much value there. Yeah. This is why Turbo Fish, man. Whew. Get it together, buddy. Will Joel be there? I don't believe Joel will be, but I think he made the choice. He's going to Vivarium. So he's going all the way to the Netherlands to film some cool stuff that I'm jealous of. And it honestly was like the same cost. So I was a little, dang. Man, okay. Who's going to Aquatic Experience? Love to see Jimmy there and buy another print. It's Jimmy or Lizzie if you're listening. People want more prints. Bring some more maybe? I don't know. Let's see that taco hat. Do you know that it's a time release vault? You know, like a bank that holds billions of dollars and like you got to have two people retina scan and then there's a 30-minute delay to even open it? That's what we've got for the vault of the taco safe. You can't just be being held up by gunpoint, someone taking your taco hat. You got to have at least a 30-minute time lock delay to protect such a treasure. Man, it's like you guys don't even know this taco hat. Yeah. I have a fish room with African cichlids. I leave at 5:30 in the morning. Oof. And I get home at 3:30. All right. My timer turns the room lights on at 1. I feed my fish when I get home. How would you do the feed fish on this schedule? Let me think here. So it's coming on at 1. I'd probably keep it on till about 10 or 11 at night. You're feeding at... Oh, okay, it doesn't say when you're feeding. So I'd probably feed right about 4. Like if you get home at 3:30, you don't want to instantly feed. You got to do some stuff, feed at 4. And then I'd have an auto feeder, maybe feed them at 6 and 8 and 9:30. And maybe you've got to, I'll always do the 9 o'clock one. Like, I'll eat dinner, hang with the family. At 9, I'm a lock. But fill in the other ones with some auto feeders there. Yeah. Welcome, Jason Sorrells. Yes. I love these streams. Very intimate and one-on-one. This is the first stream I've been able to be a part of because I have meetings every Wednesday. Tell me about it. Honestly, the days are getting to the point where if I'm not live, I'm pretty much in a meeting with someone. Like, that's what I do. Have I tried Sopes? I feel like that's a yes. Let me Google it. No. I thought Sopes was, what's like the little thing that looks like a chip covered in like red sauce with some whipped cream on it that they have like as a Mexican dessert? Yeah, I have not had Sopes. They look ridiculously good, and I now need to try them because all these pictures look delicious. They look like miniature taco quiches that need to be devoured by myself. I feed Mabuna once a day. Is that not enough? So it's not that it's not necessarily not enough, but most Mabuna that we keep are a grazing species. They'll eat a lot of algae. That's why they have the teeth right on their lips. And in general, for any animal, it's better they eat multiple times a day, smaller amounts, than one time a day. So, you know, is that not enough? I wouldn't say necessarily it's not enough. If you're like, could it be a little more optimal? Yeah, it could. You know, but I don't think you're not going to see huge differences unless you're like growing fry and doing that kind of stuff. So, yeah. Do I sell underground filters, and how would you set up a reverse flow? We talked in Dallas. I don't sell any. I don't sell any yet. Like, there might be a day where I make one. I've got some ideas. But in terms of reverse flow, I would grab the cobalt power head, get it so it's pointing downward, put an intake sponge on the intake of that, and just let it run. Yeah, it's kind of an old system, works well, and I've got some ideas to maybe make it a little better, but, you know, from idea to production, it's a lot of work. Oh, $10 super chat for answering your question. Well, thank you, Mark Hill. I don't even remember what question I answered, but I'm glad that I've answered it. I just try and get as many as I can in as I can. That's how it goes for me. Love the USB air pump. Would it be strong enough for the new Co-op sponge filters? So, specifically, we designed it when used with the Neverclog Airstone. It is enough to run one on low flow. And what does that mean? That means like it will do what it needs to do, but it's not going to like suck up fish poop from a mile away. Like, it's not crazy heavy flow, but it does do pretty dang good. We designed it to specifically be able to run off that, because if it could run off that, any air pump can run these. I feel like I just merged the word air pump and poop at the same time. Like, if you rewind that sounded weird. It sounded weird in my head anyway. But that air pump, if you can run off that one, anything's going to work. And we designed it specifically that way. So, yeah. I just got my order of pre-filters and I bought all the sizes. I would just recommend adding the dimensions, but I absolutely love them all. Let me peruse that. We'll see. We'll see if we're about to make some more work for Jimmy. Pre-filters. So, okay, this is the thing. That's why I always I always investigate before I jump to conclusions. And if we go to pre-filters and I hit my wicked button over here, whoop. Like on the medium sponge filter, if we go in, right here, we've got, it's a 1/2 inch hole, 2.5 inches, you know, kind of left to right, and 3 inches long. It also says those here. Then, my next thing is like, ooh, maybe I missed one though. Hold up, I could be bad at my job, and that happens all the time. Let's look at this one. This one doesn't have it. Jimmy! I'm gonna need you to measure and, well, I could probably measure it, but I need you to make me the graphic. You're so good and I'm not. Let's look at this one. 1 out of 3? Man, we're barely holding this place together. We're so bad. Like, we have one measurement is 3 inches. Oh, we got it right here. I mean, there's some. We could increase that. We could take this and we could make that graphic better. Did we have it written out on the other one? We've got it written out. So, hey, there's that video I was looking for earlier. Remember when I was saying that I have a video on how to make the upgrades happen? See? Oh, look at that. I'm making the grommets. You can see the tubing on there. That's right. So if you need a further explanation on what we saw earlier, that exists on the website, exists on YouTube, all those things. So yeah, I'll try to get Jimmy to make these couple of pictures so it reinforces it. Like, we do have it, and if there's something else that you need and I misheard, then we'll clarify, because it is my goal. My goal is honestly to just make Candy not hate me. It's not that she hates me, it's that if we do a good job with website design, that's my department, less questions end up in her lap of like, what's the measurement diagonally from here to here? Like, do you need that? Of course I do. I'm asking. Like, okay, we'll work on it. So, the coarse foam pad link. Oh, is that the one that we need? I see. Let me look. Because that could be a thing too, but well, I know what size they're supposed to be. That's the thing. It's like, oh, but they're this. And they're like, that doesn't mean I've relayed it to you guys, though. I could just be a guy that's bad. No, it says it. See, I always assume, if I go back here, 9" by 9", and then, boom, 1". All right. Oh, that other Mexican dessert thing, sopapillas, right? Sopapillas? It's like saying tortilla, but I intentionally say tortilla wrong. Tortillas. Then naturally I was going to say sopapillas, but I think it's sopapillas. You know, my Spanish is strong, as you can tell. So, all right. To be honest, I didn't even see it. Thanks for the info about the pre-filters. All right. Yeah, I mean, sometimes, and my job is purely to analyze, did we even put this in a place that people see? You know, because you can put a lot of stuff on a screen and people don't see stuff, and we have to see, are people utilizing it? Are they asking the question even though we put it there? And I'm a guy that misses stuff all the time, so I know, like, okay, I totally know it. Yeah. Any tips for successful snail breeding tank for puffers? Lots of calcium. We'll go to the website. This is how I'm gonna make all my money. Buy all of our stuff. No, what you want is, if we go into the food section, fish food, and can we sort by zoom ed? We can. You want these banquet blocks. These have spirulina algae or fish food in them, and they have tons of calcium. You feed your plecos tons of that, or not plecos, your snails tons of that. You do your water changes, and you just get a lot of them going. That's all you can do, and give yourself some water. If you really get them going, you need that water. You can foul it if you're not trying, or I mean, without trying. So, yeah. All right. I can't grow Valsnaria to save my life. I tried Easy Green. I tried Eco Complete. I tried a Plenum. I tried the Fluol 3.0. You name it, and it won't grow for me. That sounds rough. Do you have hard enough water? It takes a long time to establish. Like, you kind of got to like set it there, wait 3 months, yell at it, and then like 3 months and 6 days later, it's like, wait, it's doing its thing. It takes a long time. And then forever on, it's like, oh dang, oh dang, oh dang. That's why people say like, oh man, I can't stop growing Valsnaria. It's out of control. Yeah, but the reality is it does take quite a while to get going. So, Do I wash salt off from green beans? No, directly out of the can. There's not that much salt in there, in my experience, and it dilutes quite a bit. And I haven't seen any negative effects. That doesn't mean there isn't. That just means I haven't seen them. And I've fed way too many green beans to, yeah. Have I, if you've seen the DIY mat and filter video, is that stacked rock fry trap similar like he used to form water with PVC and an air stone? I don't know if I've seen that video, but the premise of making a airlift system, which we talked about airlift systems earlier, at that point we were trying to lift water, but you'd use an airlift system to lift fry up and over into a different chamber. So it could be. How can I donate money using mobile? Good question. There should be like a button. Down by like where the emojis are, there should be like a keyboard and then thing with like a dollar symbol. I should be, yeah. And then you'll click that button and you got to do a couple of steps, but yeah, Like, I got internet slayed for saying buy salted green beans the other day. Yeah, because people are armchair warriors, and they're like, you'd have to be a moron to be using salt in a freshwater fish. This guy, oh my God, this guy. Meanwhile, you've got people, like, literally, so for instance, Greg Sage at Select Aquatics, he buys green beans by the pallet in the giant things of it, salted. Because the low sodium or no sodium ones cost more money. And it makes no difference in the growth that he can see. He sells insane amounts of plecos. I've never seen any difference. It is what it is. You know, but we love to go, you know, oh, that doesn't sound, no, that's not good for them. Like, oh, but have you tested it all? I don't need to. I know that salt's not good for them. Okay, then. Case closed. Living in Istanbul in a different continent usually don't get usual mess. Okay, hold on. I'm deciphering here. Living in Istanbul in a different continent usually doesn't get usual mess you list. Mess you list. Is there an alternative way? Meds. Okay, usual meds that I list. Got it. Sometimes one letter difference really changes a sentence. So we don't get the usual meds that you list. Is there an alternative other than salt, or what should I look for in an alternative? All right, got it. You're looking for active ingredients. So if you could find a different type of antibiotic, you know, and that might be tetracycline, that might be amoxicillin. Yeah, and then for like deworming agents, you could look for levamisole, fenbendazole, flubendazole, praziquantel, metronidazole. All those are like normal common dewormers. And then for like anti-external parasite, malachite green, methylene blue, formaldehyde, copper. What else can I think off the top of my head? But those are a lot of the building blocks for a lot of these meds, but they might already be outlawed there or something like that. But like with methylene, with Icex, when they make if they crack down, they're going to make it so you can't mix like methylene blue and formaldehyde together. But in theory, like the methylene blue and the formaldehyde, as long as they stayed separate, would be sellable technically. So it starts getting weird, and then they'll probably crack down on that, and then another thing will happen. So, yeah. Let's see here. Oh, it took a while. Well, the first one I saw. What was the reason that I made the other video private? Mostly because the internet was being very uncivil with each other. It was starting to lead to us getting emails. It was people reaching out and going, have you seen this? We were actively policing it. All of us were going to spend the next 2 days watching fights break out and continue to ban people. You know, and there was lots of comments that come in, and this is the unfortunate part of the internet. Like right now, one of the reasons I'm having so much fun with this live stream is you guys have pitched in $5. You've got a vested interest. You really like what we're doing. It's going great, you know. But people that don't have a vested interest, they've got nothing to lose. And so, you know, like the comment that really just made me get off the internet for the entire night that night was, the comment was, I'm trying to think, how do I say this without saying what he actually said, or he or she said, because it's not appropriate. And if you had kids or at work, you can't say these words. It basically was, you should stick to fish, you effing F. You know, and just lots of stuff like that, where people were highly, like, in an aroused state from fighting with other people, and then they turned that aggression outward onto other people. And, so we were just banning people left and right who were just, like, flying off the handle, like, and the weird part was, like, Dean's like, oh, I really love that episode. Others, people were like, I actually love seeing the footage. We like seeing what you saw there. Blah, blah. And I tried to remain as neutral as possible. And I got a good, you know, and the aftermath, if you will, it makes it sound like it's been a horrible traumatic event or something, and I don't want it to make it seem like it was that. But, you know, things still trickle in. Like, I got an email today from the person that uploads to all the podcasts for us, which is, you know, very nice guy. And I'm going to pull up his email. Because I think it was a good, oh, where is it? Let me find it. Because when you voice someone else's opinion, here we go. This was in he wrote, so he's got a tank in the classroom and all that kind of stuff. We were talking about that kind of stuff as well. And then he said, by the way, to tell you the truth about your Amazon fires video, I was surprised you were doing a video on the fires. Most people just lock on to the memes and the TV news. Not really the big picture. I'm assuming that's what happened. He said, and I have never heard you say anything remotely political, religious, or such. I've been listening to you for a while now, and I still don't know if you're leaning Democrat or Republican. And you speak of tariffs, but never in a good or a bad way, just how it affects the prices of your products. Sorry it didn't go when it sounds like it was pertinent to wild fish information from someone that was there. And that's just it. I don't feel like it's my place to sway you one way or another on a political issue or religion or anything like that. Very close to fish. I thought that the Amazon fire thing was hyper close and sensitive to fish because we are very active about fish, and that topic really impacts those fish. That being said, the takeaway from that was we should argue politics and world leaders and anything but talk about the Amazon. So we decided just to, you know what, drop the whole thing, move on. It's not worth the stress on all of our employees, on me, on my wife, all that kind of stuff to be in this like, okay, we got to watch it because 60,000 people are going to see it over the next week and we got to stay on top of this. Like, don't let people keep screaming at each other. And so that's why we just shut it down. Honestly, it's like the people that were there, they got to see it. They got to hear my opinions on stuff. And then we moved on because we don't want to just do nothing but watch and police people. So, food for a featherfin catfish, I don't see them eat. Bloodworms, brine shrimp, anything meaty. And they like dimmer light. So you'll see them a lot more if they're not in super bright light. They like to be a little reclusive. Can I use Gorilla Glue to glue aquarium plants? As long as the active ingredient was what? Acrylic cyanolite? I believe that's the active ingredient. Yes. But, you know, I always hesitate to be the guy that's like, you said it was okay. Like, I didn't read the ingredients on that package. I'm sorry. You know, type of deal. Am I excited for the new camera on the iPhone from a film perspective? Yes. I think the biggest thing I'm looking forward to is the front-facing camera. So that when I'm talking to the camera and I'm doing a live stream or something like that, well, the live stream will still be limited. But when I'm doing anything where I'm talking to a camera and looking to make sure I'm framed correctly, the new front-facing camera is 12 megapixels, up from, I think, 7 or 8. So that'll be a nice quality boost. It is noticeable in low-light conditions. And I'm sure all the algorithms for the camera software is going to get better, and we can use the wide-angle lens, and there's all these things I'll be able to do. And in general, they honestly just get better, and I get lazier. A lot of the videos that you guys watch now are all filmed on an iPhone because the workflow is so easy for me to get it up for the members or get it to Jimmy, or the fact that it's waterproof, the fact that it has a giant battery. You know, the reality is this camera right here is $1,000, and we use it sometimes, but it's not as stable. It does macro photography or close-ups way better. It is a great camera, and we do use it, but this is always in my pocket, no matter what. And because it's a tool that's always on me, it makes sense for me to keep the best possible tool. You know, it's like maybe someone else is like, oh, I've got a drill, I've got a hammer, I've got this. Like, if you always have a hammer in the loop on your cargo pants, make it be a pretty good hammer. You're using it all the time, and that's how I feel about this. Is like, we use it all the time. Let's make sure I got the good hammer so that I'm as efficient as I can be. So, cyanoacrylite. Yes, that's the word I was looking for. Rick, thank you. I'm here for the metaphors. Me too, buddy. Me too. All right, it's 7 o'clock. Technically, I was not even going to like stream remotely this long or anything like that. You know, as I said earlier, it's game night. I'm supposed to be gaming with my buddy, and I don't want to miss that. So I'm going to hop off, and we'll see you in the next one. I appreciate all the new members. How close did we get to a new emoji meme? E-meme, as I call it. We ended 14 away. Hopefully some people will see this and go, hey, I could become a member. I could help out with that. I could chat in the next live chat. And for everyone that, you know, couldn't speak in this chat, don't worry. The Wednesday live chats are open to everyone. And I think you guys might see watching this chat moves at a much more reasonable pace. Kind of more of a conversation flow can happen that just isn't possible when there's thousands of people chatting and just putting their messages there. It's a more of a back and forth thing going, and I think it helps us provide a different show too. So even if you don't pay for it, you're getting different content than you would on a Wednesday, and I think that's good for everyone, myself, you guys, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think that's all I've got. I'm gonna dig into my my Mexican food, and I'm going to send some hate mail to Steenfod Aquatics because he's an Alliance noob. And, yeah. Leave some comments. By the way, anyone's able to comment down below. Like, you don't have to remember to comment after the fact or anything like that. Don't worry about that. It's just during this live show that even comes into play. So, yes. I know you just got here, James, but, you know, you had to drive home, buddy. What can I do? If I never left because someone just got on to the live stream, I'd live stream 24/7. And I tell you what, I have to go to the bathroom. It's been like 2.5 hours, and I gotta pee. You know, there's just some things that gotta be done, and that's what it is. So I gotta get Jimmy to make a couple images so that we have that for the website. Make it one picture better at a time, and we'll see you next time. I really appreciate it, guys, and I'll try to keep putting up more and more member content for you as I get. Oh, that's a good idea. Oh, that's a thing. Let's do that thing. I'll do those things for you guys, and hopefully you enjoy it. If not, hey, I tried my best. We'll see you next time.